Greetings and welcome to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. Today, we are going to talk about the 10 best TCM herbs, supplements, roots, powder form, tinctures. These supplements that we're going to talk about today come in raw form, they come in supplements, they come in powders. It depends if it's a root or an herb. And let's just straight off the bat start talking about ginseng. Ginseng. It's an adaptogen. It's good for stress. We live very stressful lives. And what do people do? What do people do when they are stressed out? They go to the store, they buy alcohol, they buy cigarettes, they buy, drugs. They're on all kinds of Western medicine pharmaceuticals that do them absolutely no good and actually does nothing but harm. The pharmaceutical industry, they are basically legal drug dealers that are giving you synthetic forms of pharmaceuticals that are genetically modified in a laboratory, and they are copies of other chemicals, and they're like these imitators that come with all kinds of side effects because they're not genuine, they're not natural. So that is why I always highly suggest people to stay far away from the pharmaceutical industry. The only thing that they're good at are emergencies where you need antibiotics. That's probably the only thing that I can think of that they're good at. If you're having any kinds of issues like the issues that we're going to be talking about today, traditional Chinese medicine will alleviate all of those issues from the root cause. So ginseng is good for stress. It's one of those things that I believe they even make candy. You can even get like jelly candy of ginseng that you just pop in your mouth whenever you're stressed out. It is an adaptogen and it prevents the aging process. So today we're going to talk about 10. We just talked about ginseng. That one has a strong flavor, but there's ways to sweeten it with honey. If you have like ginseng tea, you can sweeten it with honey. The second one that I would like to talk about is Huang Qi, and that one is called astragalus in English, I believe, and it protects the immune system and treats cancer and cardiac dysfunction. It modulates the immune function. And there's one more thing that I wanted to say about astragalus. You can put that in smoothies because it has quite a bitter flavor. I personally put it in smoothies when you add fruits or honey, and the almond milk or the macadamia milk or whatever milk you're using usually has like this sweet flavor. I like using vanilla flavored macadamia milk, and I'll put the astragalus in there. I'll buy it by the bulk. It's pretty expensive when you buy it in small amounts, so I like to get the astragalus in quite a big bag, like at least a couple pounds. So if you're having any kind of cancer or cardiac dysfunction, or you have a weak immune system and you need something to modulate it, that would be perfect for you to take astragalus. I like saying Huang Qi better because it's easier for me to say it that way. The next one, I don't know the English version. It's a mushroom and it's a Lingzhi. Lingzhi is a mushroom, and I don't know the English version to that, but that enhances your energy if you're feeling fatigue, and supports healthy aging. So some of these TCM recommendations will help you age gracefully, and others will straight up just cut the whole aging process. And I know a lot of people might not believe that, but things don't need your approval to exist in this world. There are people that believe in magic and there are people that don't. That doesn't mean that magic doesn't exist just because you don't believe in it. So Lingzhi, did I say Lingzhi? Oh my God. Lingzhi enhances your energy and supports aging and boosts your immunity as well. Now let's talk about goji berries. Goji berries are one of those that I believe is a magical berry. It's one of those berries that I believe kind of cuts off the aging process, where others enhance different components. The goji berry, I feel, just completely combats inflammation. Inflammation is a huge issue in modern society today. It really is. At first, it used to be only certain countries that had obesity issues, and it kind of spread to other countries. This inflammation issue where people just their gut is inflamed. So goji berry is one of those things that will just cut that inflammation by just completely combating it altogether. It also helps support your immune system. And the next one that I would like to talk about is turmeric. Turmeric will stain whatever you're trying to use it for. If you want to use it for external remedies, or you can use as a dye or a tincture or anything external, just know that it will stain clothing and furniture. I have turmeric stains on my furniture that I have not been able to get out for weeks now. So just letting you know, it's gonna stain your furniture, but turmeric will prevent chronic disease from happening. There's all kinds of chronic diseases that are on the rise. If you season your food with turmeric, even though it has a strong flavor, you eat it, you put it in your food at least once a day, it will prevent chronic disease. You will not get chronic disease if you are including turmeric in your diet. How many have we talked about? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, let's talk about licorice. Licorice is one of those TCM remedies that I believe is so underrated. You know, you have like ginseng is probably the most overrated TCM that everybody knows about. You know, ginger, I don't even think I'm mentioning ginger today because ginger is good for you if you have arthritis. So the beauty of TCM, when you get into it, there's so many books, there's so many volumes, there's so much information, and there's so many branches and extensions. It extends to neurology, it extends to Taoism, it extends to a Buddhist mindset, it extends to all these things. But the beauty is the simplicity of life, and that is the hardest thing for humanity to comprehend is the simplicity of life, how simple life is. Usually people who are unhappy or ungrateful or egotistical, they have issues with the simplicity of life. They want to make everything as complicated and complex as possible when it just has to be as simple as possible, simplified as possible. And with the herbs, with the fruits, with the roots, with the seeds, it shows you a clue by how it looks. The way that it looks gives you a clue, because you have to remember our ancestors. Whenever our ancestors found certain herbs and fruits, how did they know? How did they know back then without the internet what conditions these were going to treat, And it's by looking at the item, by examining the item, by seeing how you feel just for holding the item, meditating with the item, and the item is essentially giving you a clue. Okay, this is something that's making me nauseous. I'm going to put it down. So ginger is the best example to the beauty of nature, where nature is already giving you a clue on what ginger is good for. Sorry about the background noise. I live in such a noisy neighborhood where they have mopeds. Mopeds, yes, I cannot stand the sound, and now there's a car alarm going off. So licorice, also known as Gan Cao, is a sweet herb, and it's especially good for men because it helps them with low libido, but it's also good for women. So if women are stressed out, you want to take sweet licorice in a sweet herb form, obviously not the candy from the store. But going back to the ginger, if you look at a ginger, it looks like this. This is what ginger looks like. And what is it telling you? It's telling you that it's good for arthritis. So that's what ginger is for. So if you have issues with arthritis in your toes, your hands, or even carpal tunnel, where your wrists or your ankles lock up, I would include ginger to my diet, okay? The Gan Cao sweet herb licorice is good for erection dysfunction, premature aging. It's good for liver damage. It promotes detoxification processes. You want to take about 2 to 4 grams a day, and it reduces the risk of getting cancer and protects, what does it protect? The Gan Cao protects the liver. That's right. The Gan Cao protects the liver from liver damage, and also regulates the blood sugar levels. Sorry, it's a lot of information to memorize, and I am talking about 11 today, including my favorite, which is going to be last. The next one that I want to talk about is saffron. Saffron is nice because it's easily accessible. A lot of the TCM herbs, people are like, where in the world am I going to get this? You could get it online, but it's risky. You want to get it from a holistic website, or you want to get it straight from your doctor. So acupuncture, acupressure. If you are serious about your health and you do not mind spending top dollar on supplements for top shelf, out of this world supplements, you can go to my description on my main channel, and that person on my description, my colleague, will ship you top shelf supplements that will blow your mind and are worth every penny. I just had to put that out there because I know that there's some people that are having a lot of issues, especially after the pandemic that exposed so many people to things that alter your DNA. If you are concerned with your DNA being altered by things that were forced upon you, I recommend cilantro. Cilantro in raw form and kiwi fruit. The kiwi fruit and the cilantro are my two favorite for repairing the DNA and the RNA very, very well. It even repairs you spiritually. When you eat kiwi fruits and raw cilantro, it does something to your brain where you just snap out of the matrix and you're like, wait, no, I'm here for a bigger purpose than these shenanigans. Saffron is really good because it's easily accessible. You can get it at the grocery store. It's usually really expensive. It's usually like 20. It's usually really expensive, but if it's expensive, then you know that you're getting something genuine. Saffron is also good for arthritis and cancer. If you have cancer issues, arthritis issues, depression, if you have digestive disorders, eye disorders, fatigue, fever, headaches, you want to take a saffron. Lotus is going to be the next one that I'm going to be talking about. What is this? Number 9. Number 9, lotus, also known as Lian Zi. Wow. This lotus is really good for meditating on a spiritual level because it will bring you to a sense of enlightenment and returning back to natural order. It is a symbol of purity and will make you feel that when you meditate with it, and it's very inspiring to meditate while it's in your body. You know, as soon as you take it and you meditate, you will feel like you're glowing. It protects your cells from damage. It's good for anxiety and it's good for insomnia. Okay, and then let's talk about indigo. Indigo is also considered Qing Dai. And I recommend this particular herb for those people who are trying to wean off marijuana for medical purposes. Marijuana is one of those things that a lot of people are using it to medicate themselves from CPTSD, complex PTSD, pain, trauma. But at some point, some people don't want to use that anymore. For whatever reason, they don't want to use it anymore, or they go to microdosing, and then when they microdose, they don't like the symptoms that come with medicating with that herb. The other problem with marijuana is that it's genetically modified and it's very difficult to get organic marijuana. If a city or a state is going to legalize it for medical use, it's going to be regulated and they're going to make sure that it's not genetically modified. But the problem with legalizing it for recreational use is that then it becomes not only taxable and profits the government, but it gives them the authority to tamper with it. So the problem with marijuana is that it has been tampered from its original form, and it's been added with all kinds of chemicals that are really not good for you. But if you are one of those people that use it medicinally and you want to wean off of it and you want to transfer to something that is a lot higher in frequency. Not to say that marijuana is not a high frequency. Marijuana is very good for pain and grounding, but it has the symptoms, the negative symptoms of being irritable the next day. It really doesn't have that many negative symptoms. For the most part, it's one of my favorite medicines out there for the general public, simply because how can you criminalize nature? How can you criminalize something that helps people eat and sleep? Go attack people who are methed out, cracked out, shooting up heroin. Go attack those people. Go put them in rehab programs and criticize and judge them. People who use marijuana medicinally, not recreationally, what benefits are they getting? The benefits that they're getting is their appetite returns if they're not eating. They're motivated if they're depressed, they become motivated. If they're suicidal, they don't want to be suicidal anymore. They just want to hear a nice, good, vibrational song. So it gives you an appetite. It makes sure that you're eating. It makes sure that you're hydrated. It makes sure that you are resting. It's not keeping you up all hours of the day. Anywho, for those people who are interested in leaving that substance behind, I highly suggest indigo Qing Dai. And it boosts, not only does it boost your immune system, it helps the skin conditions. There's a lot of skin conditions, different exposure. The world has been exposed to the north and the south and the east and the west, and there's all kinds of diseases, all kinds of bacteria, and people have different kinds of allergies. So Qing Dai will help you with allergies and also help you with digestive issues, and the biggest one of all, it relieves pain. Out of all the remedies that we've talked about, none of them have really done that pain relieving that other substances do that people want to leave or replace, because a lot of times people really like taking CBD for their conditions, but it shows up on certain exams, so they cannot take that. So I would suggest indigo for that, because of the pain relief component that is going to make it a healthy replacement, because that substance is very difficult to replace. There's not many alternatives that do the same thing as CBD does. I'm gonna do 12. Let's just do 12 because I feel like I have a tie. It's a tie. I was gonna do my favorite one, 11. My favorite one is He Shou Wu, also known as 40. And that is my favorite, but I just remembered valerian root. How could I forget valerian root? So let's do 12. Let's do 12. Valerian root. Now that we're talking about for people who are interested in replacing CBD, if you are interested in replacing CBD, valerian root and indigo Qing Dai are going to be your best friends. Really. If for some reason you cannot find Qing Dai, then your best friend is going to be valerian root. Valerian root is a beautiful replacement for CBD because it helps you rest. It helps you when you're having a panic attack. It helps you when you're having a mental breakdown. It helps you when you feel your bipolar episodes coming. It helps you with insomnia. That's already 5 things that I promise you valerian root will help you with. Just make sure that any of these recommendations that you're getting from a genuine place, a genuine store, because there's a lot of fakes out there. There's so many fakes out there. So you don't want to get something that is generic, a generic version. Back to valerian root. So depending on how strong of a dose that your valerian root is in itself, you can control it. So let's say you're having a mental breakdown, and let's say you haven't slept in 2 days, and you've just been feeling schizophrenia is another. If you have schizophrenia, valerian root will be your new best friend. Valerian root is not a daytime supplement. However, if you take very small amounts of it in the daytime, it will relieve the schizophrenia and the bipolarness, and it will just calm you down. With the valerian root, you want to get a medium strength. If the strength is too high, you're not able to choose how many you take. But if the strength is medium of your valerian root, then you're able to decide, okay, what do I want it for? Do I want it to ease the symptoms of the bipolar and the schizophrenia, or do I want it because I want to go to sleep for 8 hours? So you would take the valerian root in the daytime. You would take maybe one or two if you're having an insane episode. But if it's the nighttime, you haven't slept for 2 days, you want to take like 5. You want to take like 5 pills of the valerian root. It really depends on the strength. But what I'm trying to get to is try to get the valerian root that tells you that you need several of them to fall asleep. You know what I mean? That when you read the directions on the back of the thing, it says, take 5 pills before going to sleep. That's the valerian root that you want, because those are the ones you can control for mental breakdowns. When you have a mental breakdown, you're not going to take 5. You're just going to take 1 or 2 so that it just puts you back to neutral. And if you wish to go to sleep later on, then you can take the 5. For the most part, valerian root does not really have any negative negative side effects, except for being really tired the next day if you take it too close to bed. So if you have to wake up early, like let's say you have to wake up at 8 a.m. the next day, you're going to want to take the valerian root early as well, because sometimes valerian root can have a late effect where it waits for you to kind of decide, okay, I'm going to shut my brain down. I'm not going to think anymore. Go ahead and activate, and boom, it's activated and you're out for 5 hours, 5 to 8 hours. So let's go back to He Shou Wu. So we talked about 12 today? 12. He Shou Wu is by far my favorite. It is a root. It's mostly beneficial for men, but it's also beneficial for women. It's beneficial for both, but for men, it's kind of like the licorice, the Gan Cao. The Gan Cao, again, the licorice, I forgot to mention, increases mucus. If you're having mucus problems, diabetes problems, cortisol, the licorice Gan Cao will also enhance testosterone levels. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving anything out. So, He Shou Wu, also known as Fo Ti, I have right here. I get it in this form, and I also get it in powder form. This is so great. Like, this seriously is a gift from God. He Shou Wu helps with memory, neurodegenerative disease. It helps with people who are shapeshifters who don't want to shift so much. This will help it not, this will make you not shapeshift as much. Liver and kidney disease. If you have any kind of liver or kidney disease, this soothes your liver. It soothes your kidney. Heart disease and hair color, and premature aging. So if anyone is suffering from premature aging, He Shou Wu Fo Ti is spelled HE space CHOU space WU, or Fo Ti FO space TI. Okay, and the reason why it's so good for men is because it reverses the aging process. It completely, He Shou Wu is one of those roots that I believe completely stops the aging process. It stops gray hairs. It stops white hairs from growing, black, or whatever your natural hair color is. It will make that natural hair color that you were born with come out and be shiny. It will give you the energy of a horse. So let's say you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're just like, man, I have no energy. I don't have any energy. You replace your coffee. You stop drinking your coffee. Coffee is delicious with cream and sugar, and that's why it's so fattening, right? Right? And if you're serious about your health, you stop with the coffee or you compromise. You have that coffee. Have that coffee once a week. Have that coffee once a week. You went from having that coffee every single day. Have that coffee once a week. Have that creamy, sugary coffee, little cinnamon on top, once a week. Okay? You replace it with He Shou Wu. He Shou Wu, you buy it in powder form and you make tea out of it. So you get some hot water. You only need about a teaspoon. That is all that you need. You only need about a teaspoon of He Shou Wu in powder form, and you put it in hot tea or the tincture that I showed you, and you put that in hot tea. The powder is delicious. There is a website that I really want to recommend. I'm going to put on my description for those that are interested in purchasing any of these. So for men, if you are the age that I just mentioned and you feel like, man, I have no energy, you start taking He Shou Wu tea every morning, and I promise you, you will start to feel like a galloping horse. You will feel all of your energy return, and you will just want to get things done. You're going to want to go to the gym. You're going to want to help people. You're going to want to cover other people's shifts. You're going to be in your house doing acrobatics. Your energy levels are going to go up. So He Shou Wu is definitely has to be by far my favorite in stopping the aging process and bringing back that shine to your hair. And He Shou Wu is one of those roots that will allow you to have 2 sets of children. I kid you not. So let's say you're a man in your 20s and you had some kids, and then you're in your 30s and you get divorced. You're not with that person anymore. She kept custody of those kids, and you found yourself another wife, much better than the last one. And you're like, I want to have kids with this one. But you're looking at your vital energy and you're in your 30s and you're like, how am I going to get this done? I'll tell you how. You're going to get this done with He Shou Wu. You start taking He Shou Wu every day. you're not even going to want that coffee anymore. It's going to be time for that coffee. And you're going to be like, you know what? I don't want it anymore. I want my Hisho Wu tea. I want to feel like a galloping horse. I want to have another set of children. So you have another set of children with your wife, and your hair turned gray and white from the first wife. And guess what the Hisho Wu is going to do? It's going to make your hair go back to the original color, and you're going to feel like you're in your 20s again. You're just going to be over here popping out kids in disbelief because of Hisho Wu. Thank you, Foti. It is such a blessing to have herbs like this on earth. It really is. So let me tell you the story of how Foti was found. A drunk alcoholic in the old days of Asia. They weren't doing anything with their life. They were alcoholic, they were obese, they were lazy, they were a sloth, and they were hungover, and they were staggering around, and they trip, and they fall, and they can't get up, and they're laying on the floor, and they're like, what is this odd looking root? This alcoholic drunkard had a full set of white hair and was basically aging prematurely because of the alcohol. Alcohol ages you prematurely. Yes, it does. And he was looking at the root. What is this odd shaped root? The shape of the root is like a liver. Here I go again with the nature, how beautiful nature is. It lets you know, it gives you a clue of what it is an odd shaped root. So he decides to take it home and make tea out of it. So he got the root was liver shaped, he made tea out of it, and he regained all of his energy. He was able to stop drinking and get his life together and live his life like a 20-year-old man again. All of his white and gray hair was restored, and he had black shiny hair again. And that's the story of how Foti was found. And he also had a second set of children at a very late age. He was able to have many, many children. So that's about it. We talked about 12 TCM remedies for your issues. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out and have a TCM discussion with me.